what's going on, everybody? It's your boy, Real. And if anybody cares, if anybody out there cares, I saw Day Shift, the Netflix original movie, Day Shift. Okay, with Jamie Foxx, starring Jamie Foxx. Now, first thing I want to do is salute the Discord gang. What's up? What's popping? I'll see y'all in there. Salute to everybody listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. You know what it is. And you, the viewer. Welcome. Take a seat. Pop in. We're finna talk Day Shift. Now, Day Shift. What is it about? What is it about? Well, Day Shift is about Jamie Foxx, who by day is a pool cleaner, but by night he's a vampire hunter. And that's the premise. Now, we're going to rank this thing out the gate, but I want to do it a different way. First, I got to get this mic situated. I'm going to do it a different way because I don't want to, going forward, because I don't know if this is a comedy or an action, but I want to give it that proper respect and follow me, right? So, for instance, like when I'm doing like movie reviews, I don't want to compare it to some shit that Daniel Day-Lewis did or, Denzel's One Single Tear Dropping in Glory, the Oscar-nominated movies. Like, that's not fair. So I would like to compare the movie I saw with movies that's in its competition. And I think that'll give us a better gauge. And I also want to add yet another score for just pure entertainment, because anybody that knows a little bit about Real, right, knows that I enjoy shit movies. I mean, B-rated, terrible acting, no money. Everybody looked around and said, "You got $20? You got $50? Yeah, I can put on. All right, let's get a camera and start filming." I.e. Snow on the Bluff. That shit was phenomenal and terrible. Cameron's Killer Season. I own it. I'm not too proud to say, but yeah, it happened. I love shitty movies. So this is what I would like to add. Now, so first I'm going to go ahead and give it a score. Then I'm going to give you a reason for both. This is how we're going to break down this review video. Give a score to where I keep it. And I think this is, then I'll give a reason behind it. That's how you work with that? That's cool with you? All right, let's get it going. So first, I don't know if this is supposed to be a comedy, because I'm hoping not. I see that they have like listed it as a comedy. I think that's like super detrimental because there were no giggles. If I have to rank this as a comedy, I'm out the gate giving it 1 out of 10. It's too many funny ass movies out here to put this in a comedy and like put that up against. That's not even fair. Now, if it's more on the action side, because you can get an action movie with comic relief, but that doesn't make it a comedy. And just because Jamie Foxx didn't feel like acting doesn't mean you could just say it's a comedy. But I want to give it the benefit of the doubt and say it was mostly action. So Rail is going to give it its own category of action. I don't care what they tell you. It's probably going to say comedy, action, whatever. But as if it's an action movie, I'm going to say 4 out of 10. Right? And that's being very, very generous. Now, why would it be a 1 out of 10 for comedy or 4 out of 10 for action? I'm going to tell you why. Let's just knock out the comedy right out the gate. The reason I didn't have any laughs, it was all juvenile. Juvenile jokes. A lot of bodily fluids, slapstick humor, who only very, very, very few people can get away with. Slapstick shit, falling, physical comedy. There's only few people that could pull it off. Your Jim Carreys, rest in peace, but your Chris Farley's, like, that is you got to be the master of it to really get that off. And the dialogue in this movie, if there was any, I couldn't remember. I couldn't tell you one line. This movie had not one memorable line. Maybe anything Snoop said. I'm going to be fair. But other than that, there was no memorable lines. It was a line from a memorable man. That's a bar. Write that down. Jot that down for later. So yes, that's why. A lot of pee, the references to buttholes. I don't know. Action side, as an action movie. Now, there was good murder. There was good killing. I appreciate that. So I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 10. But let's go over the whole thing. Let's just do a quick once over, and maybe you can gauge where I'm coming from. So Jamie Foxx, right? Already I have a problem with it that Jamie Foxx is a pool cleaner, right? And it's just he's an employee of one. The reason I don't like that is because his woman, his ex-wife or separated wife, is Megan Good. And it's no way that a pool cleaner is pulling a Megan Good. I don't care what profession she's working in the movie. It's just not going to happen, big dog. So please stop with me with there. But what I have a bigger issue is him being a pool cleaner is the house that he was living in, the house that his wife and daughter stays in, and he has his own apartment. I'm sure he's helping with their living arrangements, and he's paying for himself. And I'm not from LA. I've never been to LA, but there's one thing I do know about LA. It is expensive. I'm talking about big money it costs to live there. So the house she stayed in, the apartment he lived in, probably had to total like $18,000 a month. Like, come on. Then the daughter is in a private school out there, and he has to come up with another 15 grand for a private school. So you mean to tell me this pool man is pulling a little over 6 figures a year and not doing anything under the table? Megan has no idea. She just thinks that he is an overpaid pool cleaner. That's all horseshit. Don't know why they chose that as the day profession. That is, he could have literally worked at an office. He could have worked for the Union of Vampire Hunters and just came back home and was just like, yeah, another day at the office. Oh, and I get paid this amount of money for doing accounting or something. You could just lie. That would have been way easier. Would have made more sense. It would have accounted for all your finances. It's the little things, people. And him cleaning pools had nothing to do with, I guess the whole thing was like the Aryan brothers. It was plumbing, and then this is their vehicles of travel to get to the places to hunt vampires. That's cool, but for your family to think this is how all this money is coming as your legit business, it was just I don't know. It was all dumb. Also, I got a little nervous with his first fight when it opens up because he has to show him coming in. They have to give us what we're going to get an idea of. And he basically, for the first 5 minutes of the movie, was fighting like a fucking contortionist. Like, he was fighting this old ass vampire that was unbent, unbroken, unbound. Like, this motherfucker was the most pliable creature on planet Earth. Like, I was just like, what? I mean, it was like he was fighting some old dirty rubber band. Like, imagine, if you would, search your home, look for a rubber band, and I want you to try to beat the shit out this rubber band. But not with too much force, because it'll snap. I don't want you to hurt yourself. But just to get an idea, just go like this, like some little fights and move. The fucking rubber band is going where you're going. That's what the vampire was doing. And make sure you get that old dirty one that's like stuck between the couch cushions. Then that was this fight. So I got a little nervous. I was like, oh, they doing too much. They doing too much. And, I don't want to kill this because it is a vampire flick. So you want to give it the grace of vampire movies. We're already in the era. We're not in a realistic place. And we've seen it done so many times. And that's why I gave it a 4 out of 10 because of the originality. Well, I'm going to tell you what I did like about it, where the 4 came from. Even though vampire movies is a thing that has been done a million times and will not be stopped being done, they went a different route. It wasn't your True Blood where vampires live among us and it's just a thing. It wasn't your these vampires are mysterious creatures and it's only one person able to take this feat on. And it was I like the way that they made it into a business. It was very creative because we've seen vampire hunters, but they do it for like the good of the people. Blade might have been the only person that would rob the dead vampires because he had to fund his operation. Blade, I think, is one of the most phenomenal vampire based movies, the first one, ever created. I mean, you want to get all deep, you can go, interview with the vampire. But essentially, this was Buffy the Vampire Slayer, but they got paid. It seemed like they took Buffy the Vampire Slayer, right, the TV show, that type of comedy, and mixed it with the action of a Blade, and they tried with some of the seriousness of a Blade. But I did like the creativity in where teeth, a vampire's fangs, was the prize. That was the money. And it was just a business. They had no personal hate toward vampires. And that was new. Most people who hunt vampires, it was something they came in, they destroyed their families, ate their little sister, and now they are like, fuck vampires, bro. I'm dedicating my life to killing vampires. These guys, not so much. These guys are more like, hey, I'm dating Megan Good, and I have 2 homes and a daughter, and we're separated, and she has private school, so I kind of need to hunt these vampires for cash. So I thought that was cool. I thought that was interesting. And the teeth being the value of a vampire was very interesting. I like that you could determine the vampire's age, species, and we're gonna get into that. And it was there's a lot of life in their fangs. That's the most valuable thing on a vampire, and that's what's worth money. And and it's $1 billion business apparently. So I did like that. Also, I like that there was different versions of said vampires. Right? You have the spiders, which is what the contortionist was. But then you have the uber vampires, which, remind me again, what did uber vampires do? Oh yeah, that's right. They didn't get into it. They didn't get into it. They just said, "Oh, they're unpredictable in the beginning. You don't know what they got to settle in first." That's the most I've heard of a uber vampire. And then there was another version of vampire that I didn't care to remember because guess what? Only person that differentiated themselves were the spiders because there was the rubber bands, the contortionists, the halftime vampires. When you do a halftime show, it's always the 2 dudes bending and or holding each other, or the guy and the girl, and they're fucking flipping and they got their heads up their own legs and kissing their own ass. You've seen it at your, if you've ever been to a sporting event, a basketball game, the halftime entertainment. Right? These are halftime vampires, the spiders. Fucking Circus Soleil. That's what they are. So these Circus Soleil vampires, like, they're the only ones that's truly differentiating themselves. That we don't need to know what they do. We clearly see it. We didn't know the name of it. We just thought that, in the beginning, I thought that all the vampires were about to be packaged like this. Right? Then we had found out that there's vampires, like the really vicious one at the end, the queen of them, that move like Wesker from like fucking Resident Evil, like, so they have super speed. And what I didn't like is that they gave us something super interesting and fucking ran away from it, like, I don't know, like success was chasing them or something. They wanted nothing to do with it. You mean tell me you're doing separate species of vampires and you're not gonna want to get into detail what these things do? Like, at least give us like a cut scene of them attacking people and you explain how it actually works. Like, it was the little things they could have did that could have made this thing so great. And also, I think them making this a rated R movie, this is just my own little side thought, I think them making this a rated R movie was a very terrible idea. There wasn't any nudity. It was just the violence and the blood that really gave it the R. The cussing and stuff was not even like overt. It wasn't like bad. You feel me? A lot of this rating came from the murder, the blood, and I mean, I'm not complaining. I like it, but for the success of a goofy movie like this, you would have been best making it PG-13 and releasing it on Halloween, and maybe becoming like a Halloween classic, something that the family watches on Halloween. Like, oh shit, somebody turn on day shift. It's Halloween. Let's watch some old stuff. Let's do some day shift. It could have been one of those had they went that route. It could have been its own. It could have been a violent hocus pocus, right? Like me, I watch Jingle All the Way every Christmas. I force the kids to. They roll their eyes. So they know what time it is. The week of Christmas, it's like, sit down, it's movie time. Oh, we finna watch that. Yeah, we are. Okay, you respect Arnold. And rest in peace, but you respect Phil Hartman. Fucking Sinbad. They made a fucking Christmas classic, goddammit. In this family, we will honor it. I'm sorry, but, I hate when they get their little attitudes about it. We're going to do Jingle All the Way. And, yeah, so I feel like they should have went down that road with it. But, let's see. The fight scenes, though. The fight scenes were also really amazing. And I think I think I'm digging into the entertainment part. But as a story, yeah, so like I said, the storyline was trash. And they did a more linear, old school, where the issue happened in the beginning and now it's being revisited at the end. Why is this very upset Latina vampire after Jamie? Is he just a super killer? Is he just like the top op of all vampires? Is that why she after him? And she's like, oh, this motherfucker again. This motherfucker again. You know what? I'm tired of him. Let's go get him. She did have an extra for him. And come to find out, he killed his daughter. He killed her daughter. So yeah, that old dirty rubber band in the beginning he fought turns out to be the head honcho's daughter. And she wants revenge. So now I'm not really pissed at Shorty. Right? I'm not really upset. Like, yeah, she wants your daughter now. And at least she's not gonna kill your daughter. She's gonna kill your fine ass ex. That's just gonna be a shame to the culture. You kill Megan Good. That's just a loss the society feels if you take that thing away, like that angel. But yeah, we'll all feel that. But yeah, so to me, I was like, well, this seems pretty legit. Why am I so team Jamie? And it's just a job for him. She was just another tooth. She was a couple pair of fangs. This was personal for her. So I really didn't hate the woman in charge. Like, his enemy, the main enemy, was not, it was a very relatable person. Like, I mean, you kill my daughter, I want some get back. I don't know. Seems pretty on par to me. I did like the fact that there was a union and you get paid union wages if you're part of the union, but if you want to freelance, then you got to deal with, the guy, one of Jamie's homies that got all chewed up, that was haggling with him with fang prices. So they had a lot of spots of creativity, and that's why I had to give it a 4 out of 10. For sure. As far as like vampire movies go. But they missed out on a lot. A lot of little things they could have did. And then it was a buddy cop element, that was just whatever. Because Jamie Foxx didn't even act. He didn't even act. It was just like, Jamie Foxx was like, oh, okay, this is the script. I'm a pool guy, but I hunt vampires. Cool. And he just went to that role. Now, this is better than that last shit he made, that Project Power for Netflix. I don't even want to speak on that. That was fucking god awful. But at least this was a step up. And, you team up with the other Franco, the non-problematic one, which I don't know his name. I can't remember. I know James Franco. That's the one who's really hilarious. But apparently he ran into some issues I don't know about. I didn't investigate the story. I heard he was being nasty to women and he just went away. But I don't think he got like charged with anything. I don't know. I don't know the story. Please. I'm sorry. I didn't want to bring it up because I don't want to know. I don't give a shit. Who knows? But I guess the non-problematic brother, the least funny one, is the one available because they're like, God, I wish we had a James Franco type. Well, there's another Franco that is not, problematic. We go grab him. And it felt like that's what they did. And he was giving it his all, I think. I think he was the only one trying to act in here. Megan was just being whatever. She was just herself. She didn't expend any energy acting. Jamie surely didn't. James at least, not James. Good God, I can't get James Franco off the brain. This Franco at least gave you some facial expressions and some, he wasn't funny, but he gave it a good go. He was the only one who gave some effort. So yeah, and maybe the head boss lady, maybe them two. I mean, I'm not mad at the little girl's acting. She did pretty good. To me, that was about it. Now, for the entertainment side of things, I'm gonna go ahead and give it a 7 out of 10 because it was very entertaining. The action scenes were top notch, especially when he linked up with the Aryan brothers to clear out that nest. That was phenomenal. That was phenomenal. Also, when he went into the bowling alley for the first time with Franco, I thought that was phenomenal. It was just good. It was good fighting. I didn't like the battles with the rubber band vampires, the contortionists, the spiders. I didn't like those fights. It was too much bendy. It was too goofy. What was that? What was that toy? I used to have this fucking Stretch Armstrong. There was too much of that going on. Like you could fucking twist, stretch any type of way. He just resort back to his. That's what they fought. Like it was. I can't get over how bad that was. But the gunplay was phenomenal, and the Aryan brothers really stole the show. I'm talking about karate, knives. I like the sword play. I like the knives. Very good action. So I was very entertained in that aspect. I didn't laugh though, but the action was really good. It wasn't too many explosions because you could over explode a movie, and I'm like, please don't Michael Bay me. And Snoop Dogg with a minigun, clearing out like hundreds of people with a fucking minigun. Yes, sign me up. Snoop with the cowboy jacket and just full Snoopness with weapons I know he chose. He was like, if I'm being in this movie, I want a minigun. I felt like that was a Snoop thing. So Snoop is Big J up in there clearing out shit. Yeah, that was entertaining. And who doesn't like Snoop? Even his ops like him. Like people who don't agree with Snoop still like Snoop. He's just that guy. So, yes, I was thoroughly entertained. I was entertained. But ranked up there, it's just too many. They dropped the ball in too many places. It was like they was doing too much setting up for future movies, which that was foolish. They was leaving too many open windows and didn't focus on the one that they had in front of them. Like, this lady was building what I was considering. Like, when Franco came in there, was like, wait, this nest is weird. You got these spiders next to Uber spider. I mean, oh my God. You got these spider vampires next to these Uber ones next to these. They don't live together. They dwell like this. So he was breaking down something deeper that I thought they was going to get into. I was like, okay. Why are they all together? How did she get them all together? Are they finna take over L.A.? She was like, we're tired of hiding. So I'm like, they about to come out. Let's see how this goes. And it's just like they left that alone. Like, no, it's a revenge movie now. A daughter for a daughter. That's how I feel about it. And I'm just like, no. They left too many windows. They just left too many spaces open, unfilled holes in this thing. They didn't even get into, like, what? Can one of y'all tell me what a Uber vampire does? What do they do? What do they do? Real, there was that part when Franco's head came off and she said something about an Uber vampire. Yeah, she said they were unpredictable until they weren't. What the fuck does that mean? So can you decapitate them or not? Because I've seen them decapitate Ubers. So, okay. Are some stronger in the sun and others? Like, what the fuck? What are the differences between these vampires? They just left that alone. They just wrote it. The most interesting things of the movie, they hinted to and did nothing about. I was like, that's so terrible. So terrible. This could have actually been good. And if Jamie just gave a fuck, like, that might have worked as well. So, yeah. So that's what I got to do. And vampire movies, 4 out of 10. And entertainment, 7 out of 10. And that's what I'm sticking to. Did y'all find this funny? And I mean, if I have to give somebody who won this, I'm going to have to say it had to be the Franco. Because at least he gave it some go. And he turned into a vampire. He was having fun. He was doing his thing. If there's a winner, it was him. It definitely wasn't me. It was an hour and a half I didn't really need. I appreciated the action when it came, but it was few and far in between the nonsense. So it should have been nonstop action for real. Because if this is the dialogue, if this was the comedy they were giving us, they could have fucking kept that. So I don't know whose fault that is, but hey, and they had a lot of good actors. I don't understand. I don't understand why they did what they did. But yeah, man, that's my review. So if anybody cares, that was Day Shift. And I don't know what deal Jamie has with Netflix, but I hope this ends it. He needs to go make a legit movie. Like, you don't just do Baby Driver, something that great, and then you just like, let me do. I mean, and I never want to pocket watch. I never want to count another man's money. You know, if Netflix is offering you a bag to do some easy shit, to do some non-acting, just for your face and name, and that's letting me know Netflix might be in some fucking trouble, and this might be the reason. Like, they was making good movies that was getting nominated. Like, what are we doing, Netflix? The comedy specials even falling off. I'm digressing. Anyway, protect your health, yourself, your wealth, man. Your boy Rail is out of here. Peace. Yo, I know I don't need no introduction, but y'all know who it is, man. It's your boy Hollywood Rail, and I appreciate you for sliding through and watching these videos. But you know what I need from you? All right, if you ain't already, I need you to like this and subscribe this, man. We at 1,000 trying to get to 2, all right? Push it for your boy. Get them algorithms up. So when it come to that subscribe button,